Taylor, when he said cut, he was on his horse and he went like, I don't know, that horse must have been a mile away. Taylor on his horse roped that horse and brought him back when there's like dozens of wranglers that could have went and got that horse. So when I say he does it all, he literally does it all. I don't know how he finds the energy or the time.
Okay, so I have to ask you, going into 1883, one of the things I've kind of been confused about from the start is we as an audience didn't know it was a limited series. So when it ended, it was kind of shocking and jarring. Did you know as an actor going in that this was kind of going to be a one and done?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We all knew going in, and it was, that set the tone for what it was.
Sure.
And, but sometimes when a show is as successful as 1883 was, the studios, the networks kind of find a way to keep that energy. You got lightning in a bottle. Let's keep that going.
Yeah.
But Taylor is very specific with his storytelling.
Sure.
And he knows where things start and he knows where it's going to end up. So it's like, if you're going to trust the process with anyone, any storyteller, Taylor's the guy. It kind of, you would love to keep these characters going. But as a fan, it's interesting to jump in different decades in history, to be a fly on the wall watching, the 20s, the roaring 20s, Prohibition, and then wherever it goes from there, the 1800s, to take a look inside that life of the cowboys on the range back then. And then you're on to the next one. Like it's fun as a fan. As the actor, you're like, oh crap, I'm out of work again. But
well, I mean, that's the art to it though. And I think that there is something kind of uncompromising about that. And it feels like it was a 10-hour movie almost, like you said, any other network would probably come up with, 1884 next year, and something, but artistically, would that be the right choice? But I do want to ask, so, because Thomas is a Buffalo Soldier, and when the show ends, he's still out there, right? He's still out there doing his stuff. And I mean, I know that Taylor Sheridan's doing a Bess Reeves show. I mean, would it be completely unreasonable to think that, Thomas might show up there at some point?
In my head, I was like, that seems to fit. Like, why wouldn't Thomas be in that world?
Yeah.
But again, Taylor has his way of telling stories. So it's like, if that happens, that's amazing. But if not, it is what it is.
Or like show up as a super old man in like the 20s. Like
I told him, like, I could put me in the Morgan Freeman, late older, and the legend of Thomas continues. But that would be amazing. Or their kids somehow.
So that is something I want to raise too. So I mean, for me, that was part of the heart of the show, was the relationship between your character and Graziella's character. But not only was there an interracial component, but there was also the fact that as a Romani person, she was, an outcast amongst the group from the beginning. And I was just wondering if you could elaborate on that a little bit, because I did like the fact that they kind of paired up and they found each other over the course of the show. And I thought that was a nice touch from Sheridan.
Yeah, I think the way they gravitated towards each other, or Noemi and Thomas, they're both outcast in their own world. Mm-hmm. And these immigrants were kind of, outcast in their own right. They're here in this new land, but even inside that culture, you have another outcast, and that was the Romani. Mm-hmm. And in this land, the land that the Western frontier, Texas, all throughout the American West, Black people back then, it goes without saying, how the country felt about him. So them two coming together, and I think they learned from each other. I think he was telling her, there was a couple of episodes where it's, this country, he's pretty much explaining to her certain things that she's not familiar with this country. And her naivety is like, she's learning from him. And he's learning from her as well about just like Thomas, he can handle himself. He knows the countryside. He knows horses. He knows weapons. He knows how to use his hands, but he's not really that familiar with women. So, like he's not that silver tongue kind of, so her telling him, there was an episode where she says, you know why men don't understand women, because they never say what they want or never ask women what they want. So he's learning from her as well. And it was a slow build. It wasn't fast, but by the end, I think that slow build made it that much more special. And he was reluctant the whole way, but she kind of, they made it work.
Don't want to be marrying out of fear. You'll get by out here just fine.
You were saying something about Thomas's history as well, and I mean, I thought that was the great thing about you and Sam Elliott's character. Like, I feel like there's a whole prequel series that could have happened about like your adventures in the war, and he's like a buffalo soldier and stuff. Like there's so much history there. Like, I kind of would like to check in on Thomas. Like, but I'd like to see what he was up to before it, because I noticed you're playing a character that's older than you on the show.
Yeah.
So that'd be kind of interesting to see. And I feel like that might have been by design so that they could go back in and check in on him when he was younger, and it would be kind of seamless.
that would be great. And it's crazy. Everyone's like, yeah, you look so much older. Like, special effects is crazy. Like, nah, that was all my hair. Like, no dyeing, no anything. If I let it go, that's what you get. I'm 47. So, but it would be great. Buffalo Soldiers, like, there's so much story for that to be told. Before and after, and even where Thomas and Noemi ended up in the Willamette Valley, and that time period, it wasn't too friendly towards Black people.
No, I feel like they were going, there was like a whole other chapter there, and as they raise kids, and he raises her children as well as his, and you guys presumably would have children of your own. Like, there's a lot there.
They had something in the Willamette Valley where if you come here and you have your wife and you get married, you're given a certain amount of land just for families, but that didn't apply to Black people back then, and they didn't know that. So that's drama in itself. If there were to be another look inside, in the Willamette Valley at what they're doing now.
I admire your courage, but you're gonna pick a fight you can't win before long.
What's that for?
Not sure. But I'd sure hate you don't have it when we find out.
This journey will be dangerous all the way to Oregon.
I believe in you, and I believe in that boy, and I believe in our daughter, and that's all.
So what was it like working with Sam Elliot? Because I feel like you two, it's your relationship was kind of one of the most important relationships on the show.
It was amazing. And, it was easy. And I say that with Sam as a giving actor, and you're about to work with a Hollywood icon. So you have those nerves going. But as soon as I met him, all those nerves were left right there on the gun range where we met. And it was just seamless. And it was, we were inseparable behind the scenes, and we were inseparable in front of the camera.
You packed up?
No, Captain.
You better get to it.
Ain't gonna do it. I promised I'd see you to Oregon.
And I have to ask, how does Taylor Sheridan find time in the day to do everything that he's doing? Because I mean, it's crazy that he writes every episode. There's no writer's room. It's just him. And did you ever find him sleeping? Like, does he ever sleep?
Coffee, no doze, even when he was directing, we have dozens of wranglers out there when the horses run free to kind of go get the horses. Taylor, when he said cut, he was on his horse and he went, like, I don't know, that horse must have been a mile away. Taylor on his horse roped that horse and brought him back when there's like dozens of wranglers that could have went and got that horse. So when I say he does it all, he literally does it all. I don't know how he finds the energy or the time, but
he's a real cowboy though, and I think that kind of that makes it work. Did you guys have any history together, having both worked on Sons of Anarchy together?
We didn't. We just missed each other on Sons.
Really?
And when I first met him, it was like we hit it off. He's a sports guy. I didn't know he played running back at LSU.
Oh, wow.
Back in the day, and I'm a former football player. So, and we would meet up in the gym, me, him, and Tim, like before work a few times a week in Tim's super gym. He's got like this gym, this Equinox gym on wheels, and we'd all be in there getting after it at like 5 a.m, and it traveled with us from ranch to ranch. So it was fun, man. It was one of those gigs those once in a lifetime joints.
Well, I'm enjoying you on Terminal List right now. I'm watching it as it airs. Well, I'm catching up on it. But I really do hope that we see Thomas again in the future. I feel like I will, but I hope I do. And he was a fan favorite on the site, so I was really excited to talk to you. So thank you very much for making the time.
Oh, that's amazing, man. Thank you for the kind words. And yeah, somebody get a letter over to Paramount Plus that we want Thomas back.
Well, they'll be watching this, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm all in for it.
All right, man. Take care. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks.
You can police yourselves, or I can do it.
You don't control them. It's a free country.
That is a free country. That is no man's land, and that's where we're heading.
Anybody else want to fuck with my family? Anybody?
There's only one killer in Fort Worth, and that's me.
1883, new series streaming December 19th, exclusively on Paramount Plus.